Hey, have you noticed how everyone suddenly seems to have an opinion about your body once you hit midlife? What you should eat, what workouts are best for your age, which supplements will fix your hormones or your wrinkles or your energy or even your mood? Your sister in law swears by keto, your coworker is all about intermittent fasting, your neighbor sells collagen powder and keeps dripping hints about how great it works. And don't even get me started on what your social media feed is telling you about aging gracefully or not so gracefully. Sometimes it feels like the world has turned into one giant unsolicited advice column, and apparently, you are the featured topic. Everyone has something to say about what you're doing wrong with your body and how you should fix it. And if I'm being honest, it's exhausting. But here's the thing, and I really need you to hear this today. You don't need everyone's opinion to know what's right for your body because no one else lives in it, no one else walks in it, no one else prays over it and experiences it the way you do. Today, we're talking about how to tune out the noise, trust your body's wisdom, and remember that God designed it and you on purpose. Not by accident, not as a rough draft that needs constant revision, but on purpose. So, welcome to Graceful Growth in Midlife. I'm Teresa, and we're talking about faith, health, and purpose in this point in life. And if I'm honest, I'm figuring this out right along with you. This podcast isn't about perfect answers or expert advice. It's not about me telling you I've got it all together, because I definitely don't. This is about real conversations that help us grow, one messy, beautiful, imperfect step at a time. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to invite you to something special. This December, I'm offering a free companion guide called The Season of Light, Finding Peace, Purpose, and Renewal in God's Presence. What if this year, instead of rushing through the holidays, you paused to prepare your heart? Instead of adding more to your plate, you made space for what truly matters. This guide will help you slow down, reflect, and rediscover the wonder of Christ's coming. Not just in December, but in every ordinary moment of your life. You can download it for free at thegracefulgrowth.com, of which I will put the links below, and it's actually available now. All right, let's get into today's episode. And I'll admit, today's topic, it hits close to home for me. Because just like a lot of women, I've spent years, decades really, listening to every expert, every new plan, every this will change your life fix. I've tried the diets, I've bought the supplements, I've followed the programs, I've done the things I was supposed to. And at some point, I realized something. I was drowning in other people's voices and completely ignoring the one that mattered most. The voice God gave me, the voice of my own body, the voice of wisdom that comes from slowing down, paying attention, and asking God, what do you want me to know right now? So today we're going to talk about that, about the noise, about the pressure, about why it's so hard to trust our own bodies in midlife, and about how to come back to a place of peace where you're not constantly trying to fix yourself, but learning to care for yourself with grace. Before we dive in, I want to let you know that you can find the full written version of this episode on my blog at thegracefulgrowth.com. I post all my podcast episodes there, so if you want to go back and reread something or share it with a friend, it's there waiting for you. All right, let's get into this. Let's be honest for a minute. Midlife brings changes that no one really prepares you for. You wake up one morning and your jeans don't fit the same. Not because you've done anything drastically different, they just don't fit. Your energy shifts in ways you can't quite explain. You feel tired more often, or your sleep is off, or you can't bounce back from things the way you used to. Your hormones, they have their own opinions, really loud ones. And suddenly, everyone around you has a solution. Imagine that. Your coworker swears by intermittent fasting and keeps mentioning how much weight she's lost. Your neighbor tells some kind of collagen powder or essential oil or wellness product. And she's convinced it'll change your life if you just give it a try. Your Instagram feed is full of before and after photos, women your age who apparently figured it all out with the right supplement stack or workout program. And look, I get it. People mean well. Most of the time, they're genuinely trying to help. They found something that worked for them and they're excited to share it. But here's what happens: the message underneath all of that noise, whether it's intentional or not, is this: you're not enough as you are. Your body isn't good enough. You're not aging well enough. You're not trying hard enough. You need to fix this. Change that. Do more. Be better. And friend, this is a lie. God didn't create your body to be a never-ending project that needs constant fixing. He didn't design you as a rough draft that requires editing and revisions and upgrades every few years. He created your body as a temple, a vessel for purpose, for strength, for life, a place where His Spirit dwells. Psalms 139:14 says, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. Now, I know we've all heard that verse before. It shows up on coffee mugs and wall art and Instagram graphics. And sometimes when we hear something too often, it loses its power, right? But I want you to really sit with this for a second. Fearfully and wonderfully made. That's not just poetic language. It's a theological statement. It's God saying, I made you with intention, with care, with purpose. You are not a mistake. You are not an afterthought. And you are not a problem that needs solving. And here's what I want you to hear today. That verse is true about you right now. Not when you lose the weight. Not when you figure out the perfect eating plan. Not when you finally get your energy back or balance your hormones, or even look the way you think you're supposed to look. Right now, is this body, in this body, at this age, in this season. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Now, does that mean we shouldn't take care of ourselves? Of course not. God calls us to steward our bodies well, but there's a massive difference between stewardship and striving. Stewardship says, I'm going to nourish this body, move it, rest it, and listen to it because it's a gift from God. Striving says, I have to control this body, perfect this body, force this body into submission because it's not good enough yet. One comes from a place of gratitude and trust. The other comes from fear and shame. And I think a lot of us, myself included, have spent way too much time in the striving camp. We've listened to the voices that tell us we're behind, we're broken, and we're not doing enough. But what if we've been asking the wrong question this whole time? What if instead of asking, what's wrong with my body, we started asking, what is my body trying to tell me? What if instead of asking, how do I fix this, we start asking, God, what do you want me to know? Because when we shift from fixing to listening, funny how everything changes. So here's what I've noticed. We live in a culture that worships youth and perfection, right? We're surrounded by messages that tell us if we just eat cleaner, lift heavier, sleep more, supplement smarter, biohack better, we can somehow reverse aging. We can turn back the clock. We can look and feel like we did in our 20s or 30s. And listen, I'm all for taking care of ourselves. I believe in eating nourishing food. I believe in moving our bodies. I believe in getting good sleep and managing stress and doing the things that help us feel strong and energized. But perfection, that's not the goal. It never was. Peace is the goal. You can eat all the kale in the world. You can drink your body weight in water. You can track every macro, hit every workout, take every supplement, and follow every protocol perfectly. But if your soul is running on empty, if you're anxious, exhausted, disconnected from God, disconnected from yourself, you're still going to feel off balance. Because health isn't just physical, it's emotional, it's mental, it's spiritual. And when we focus only on the external, on what we can see and measure and control, we miss the deeper healing that our hearts are crying out for. God never asked you to idolize your body. He never said, make yourself perfect and then I'll be pleased with you. What he asked was for stewardship, care, gratitude, and surrender. 1 Corinthians 6:19 says, do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. Let's sit with that for a sec. Your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. That means this body, your body, with all its quirks and changes and imperfections, is holy ground. It's where God dwells. It's sacred space. It's not a renovation project. It's not something to be ashamed of or constantly apologize for. It's a temple. And here's what I've learned. When you start treating your body like a temple instead of a problem, everything shifts. You stop punishing it and start nourishing it. You stop forcing it and start listening to it. You stop comparing it to everyone else and start thanking God for what it can do. Because your body, it's been carrying you through every season of your life. It's been there for every triumph and every heartbreak. It's grown babies or grieved losses or powered through stress or healed from illness. It's not failing you, it's with you. And it deserves your kindness, not your criticism. So can we just agree to release the myth of perfect health? Can we stop chasing an impossible standard that was never meant for us in the first place? Because God doesn't need you to be perfect. He needs you to be present, to be surrendered, to trust Him with your body, your health, and your life. And when you do that, when you stop striving and start resting, that's when real transformation happens. Not because you finally got it all figured out, because you stopped trying to control everything and started letting God lead. After years, maybe even decades of dieting, pushing, fixing, and striving, it can be really hard to hear your body's own voice again. You may not trust your hunger anymore. You've been told for so long that hunger is the enemy, something to suppress or ignore or override with willpower. You may ignore your body's need for rest because rest feels lazy. Rest feels unproductive. Rest feels like giving up. You may even feel completely disconnected from your body, like your mind and your body are fighting each other instead of cooperating, like you're living from the neck up and everything below that is just something to manage and control. But what if your body isn't the enemy? What if it's actually the messenger trying to tell you what it needs to thrive? Think about it. God designed your body with built-in wisdom. Hunger tells you when you need fuel. Fullness tells you when you've had enough. Fatigue tells you when you need rest. And pain tells you when something's off balance. Your body is constantly communicating with you. The question is, are you listening? Because most of us have spent so long overriding these signals, pushing through fatigue, ignoring hunger, and numbing discomfort, that we've forgotten how to hear. We've learned to trust experts more than we trust ourselves. We've learned to follow plans more than we follow our own intuition. But here's the truth. No one knows your body better than you do, and no one knows what you need better than God does. So instead of asking, what diet should I be on, or what workout plan is best, maybe start asking different questions. God, what are you showing me through this? What is my body trying to tell me today? What do I actually need right now? Not what I think I should need, but what I truly need. And then, and this is the hard part, just listen. Really listen. Maybe your body is telling you it needs more rest, not because you're lazy, but because you're exhausted from carrying too much. Maybe it's telling you it needs nourishment, real satisfying food, not restriction or punishment, but fuel that actually sustains you. Maybe it's telling you it needs movement, not grueling workouts that leave you depleted, but gentle movement that makes you feel alive and strong. Or maybe it's telling you it just needs to be still, space to just be, to breathe, to exist without pressure or performance. When you slow down long enough to listen, when you quiet the external noise and tune into what's actually happening inside, your body will often tell you exactly what's out of balance. Not through shame or criticism, through signals, through sensations, through that quiet inner knowing that says, this doesn't feel right, or this is what I need right now. And when you start honoring those signals instead of overriding them, that's when the healing begins. Not because you finally found the perfect plan, but because you started trusting the wisdom God built into you from the very beginning. Sometimes the answer isn't another program or protocol or expert opinion. Sometimes the answer is simply permission. Permission to rest when you're tired, permission to eat when you're hungry, permission to move in ways that feel good instead of punishing, and permission to stop fixing and start listening. And when you give yourself that permission, when you release the pressure and the striving, you create space for God to speak. To show you what He's been trying to tell you all along. You don't have to earn my love. You don't have to perfect yourself to be worthy. You are already enough. You are already mine. So I want to take a minute here to talk about something that I think gets overlooked in a lot of health and wellness conversations. And that's this. This isn't just a health conversation, it's a spiritual one. Because the same world that tells you to control your body is the same world that teaches you to distrust God. Think about it. The underlying message of diet culture, hustle culture, productivity culture, all of it is this. You are in control. You have to make it happen. And if you try hard enough, you can create the life you want. And on the surface, that sounds empowering, right? Sounds like you're taking charge of your life. But here's the problem. Faith and control can't coexist. You can't simultaneously trust God and try to control everything. You can't surrender to His plan while micromanaging every detail of your life. Control says, I've got this, I'll figure it out. Faith says, God's got this, I'll trust Him. And when it comes to our bodies, our health, our lives, we have to choose. Are we going to try to control it all, or are we going to surrender it to Him? Now let me be clear. Surrender doesn't mean passivity. It doesn't mean you just sit back and do nothing and expect God to magically fix everything. Surrender means you do what you're called to do. You care for your body, you make wise choices, you steward what He's given you, but you hold the outcomes loosely. You trust that God is working even when you can't see it. You release the need to have it all figured out. And that's really, really hard for those of us who have spent their whole lives being the fixers, the planners, the ones who hold it all together. But here's what I've learned. When we surrender our health, our goals, our bodies, even our appearance to God, we stop striving and start aligning. The Bible doesn't say be in control of everything. It doesn't say work harder, do more, never stop trying. It says, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. It says, cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you. 1 Peter 5:7. It says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5. Your body doesn't need to be perfect to be purposeful. You don't have to fit someone else's mold. You don't have to meet some arbitrary standard of health or beauty or fitness. You just need to follow the one who made you, the one who knows you, the one who loves you exactly as you are. And when you do that, when you stop trying to control and start trusting, something shifts. The pressure lifts, the anxiety fades, and you start to experience a different kind of health. The kind that comes from being rooted in God's peace, not the world's approval. So if you've been carrying the weight of trying to perfect your body, trying to control your health, trying to measure up to everyone's expectations, can I just invite you to lay it down today? Bring it to God. Tell Him you're tired. Tell Him you're struggling. Tell Him you don't know what to do. And then listen, because He'll meet you there in the mess, in the uncertainty, and in the middle of it all. And He'll remind you, you don't have to do this alone. You were never meant to. Okay, let's get really practical for a minute. Because reality is, people are still going to offer you unsolicited advice. That's not going to stop. Your coworker is still going to tell you about the latest diet she's trying. Your mom might make comments about your appearance. Your social media feed was still going to be full of before and after photos and miracle supplements. So how do you handle it? How do you stay grounded without becoming defensive or shutting people out completely? Here's what I've learned. Most people who offer advice aren't trying to hurt you. They're not being malicious. They're projecting their own fears, their own insecurities, their own need to fix or help or control something. Your coworker isn't really trying to tell you you're doing it wrong. She's trying to validate that what she's doing is working. Your friend who keeps recommending products isn't trying to say you're broken. She's genuinely excited about something that helped her, and she wants you to experience that too. Even the random person on social media who leaves a comment about what you should be doing, they're usually coming from a place of their own stuff, not yours. So instead of getting defensive, instead of taking it personally or letting it derail you, try getting discerning. You can listen without absorbing. You can say, thank you, and still do what aligns with your peace. You can acknowledge someone's good intentions without taking on their own advice as your new truth. Grace allows you to stay kind without surrendering your boundaries. So the next time someone gives you unsolicited advice about your body, your health, your eating, your exercise, whatever it is, here's what you can do. First, pause. Take a breath. Don't react immediately. Just receive what they're saying. Second, filter it. Ask yourself, is there truth here that resonates with me and aligns with what God is showing me? Or is this just noise that's making me feel pressured or judged? Third, respond with grace. You can say something like this. Thanks for sharing. I'll think about that. Oh, that's interesting. I'm figuring out what works best for my body right now. And finally, I appreciate you caring. I've got a plan I'm following that feels right for me right now. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't have to defend your choices. You just have to stay anchored in what you know is true. And if you need a little help with that, try this silent prayer the next time someone offers advice. God, help me filter what's true and release what's not. That's it. Simple, short, but powerful. Because God will remind you in the moment your body and your journey belong to Him, not to the person giving you advice, not to the voices on social media, not to the cultural standards of health and beauty, to Him. And when you remember that, you can receive input with grace and move forward with peace. So we're almost at the end of our time together. But before we close, I want to give you one simple challenge for this week. Are you ready? Here it is. Stop seeking permission to care for your body the way God leads you to. That's it. If you're tired, rest. Don't wait for someone to tell you it's okay. If you're hungry, eat with gratitude. Don't overthink it or shame yourself for needing fuel. If you're stressed, breathe, pray, go for a walk. Do something that brings you back to center instead of punishing yourself or numbing out. This week, ask God to help you see your body not as a problem to fix, but as a partner in your purpose. Thank Him for what your body can do, for how it's carried you through the hard seasons, for how it's healing even when the process is slow. And release the pressure to have it all figured out. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. Okay, before we close, I want to share a reflection from my 30-day healing journey. This is a devotional I created to help you have intimate conversations with God, the kind that heal, transform, and deepen your relationship with Him. I'll be walking through each day here on the podcast so you can experience the full journey. But if you want to journal through these prompts and really go deeper, you can grab your copy at thegracefulgrowth.com. All right, so today's reflection is day 15, finding strength in the present. Only God knows our future and what He has in store for us. Stressing and worrying about the future shows God that we don't fully trust Him to lead us. Being present with God and your life isn't just about having faith, it's about being fully immersed in the life God has given you, the people He's surrounded you with, and the moments He wants you to cherish for years to come. Your present time may not be what you want, it may be a battle, but take some time to ask God what He's trying to show you, what you need to learn, how He's trying to help you grow for the future. Realize that He's preparing you for something amazing. Today's verse is from Matthew 6:34. Tell my mouth is so dry I'm struggling to talk. I apologize. Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. And here's your prayer. God, help me focus on the present moment where you are with me right here and now. I release worry about tomorrow. Without overthinking, write it down. Write down the first thoughts that come to mind as you speak these words. Then take some time with the following. Think about where you are right now and what God might be trying to teach you or what He might be preparing you for. Understand that He has a plan, so when what you're experiencing now is for a reason. And then take some time to ask the Holy Spirit to help you see what you need to see now so you can be fully on board with God's plan for your future. Use these reflections to set aside some time this week for an intimate conversation with God. Okay, friend, you are not behind, you are not broken, and you are not too late. You are exactly where you're meant to be, in a body designed with intention and grace. If today's episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to do a couple of things. First, download my free Season of Light guide at thegracefulgrowth.com. This December companion will help you find peace, purpose, and renewal in God's presence. Instead of rushing through the holidays, you'll learn to pause, prepare your heart, and rediscover the wonder of Christ's coming, not just in December, but in every ordinary moment of life. Second, head over to gracefulgrowth.com. It's thegracefulgrowth.com, and read the full written version of this episode on the blog. You can bookmark it, share it, or come back to it whenever you need a reminder. And third, if you're ready for deeper transformation, download my free 7 Days of Healing guide. It's a simple devotional journey that will help you start having more intimate conversations with God, the kind that bring you real healing and lasting change. You'll find all the links below in the show notes. And if you know someone who's tired of the pressure to fix herself, someone who's drowning in everyone else's opinions about her body, would you share this episode with her? Because the more we remind each other that with grace, not perfection, is the goal, the freer we all become. Thank you so much for being here today. I'll be back next time with another real honest conversation about faith, health, and purpose. Until then, take a deep breath, listen to your body, and remember, God doesn't need you to change everything. He just needs you to trust Him with the next step. And in fact, our next episode will be the comparison trap, when everyone else seems to have it together. So join me then. Have a great week, and God bless. Talk to you soon.